Hi, my name's Alan Kraut, and I really have no idea what the future holds for me. You see, I'm a Renaissance man. When most people say this, they mean someone who is really, really superb in a bunch of different fields. The stereotypical example of this is Leonardo da Vinci. See, he was a world-renowned artist and a crazy intelligent inventor who had ideas that were way beyond his time. Now, I don't claim to be as awesome as Leonardo da Vinci, but I do like picking up a bunch of different fields. Even my primary field, robotics, I chose because I looked at computer science. And I said, I really like trying to figure out how to make computers think and how to solve all these problems. And I looked at engineering, and I said, I really like working with my hands. I like seeing the things that I build. I like working in shops and working with wood and all of these things. I wish I didn't have to give up either of those things. Oh, robotics uses both of those things, right? I could do robotics. And so I picked up robotics. Now, of course, this isn't limited to academic fields either. It seems like every time someone proposes a hobby to me, I say, sure, and pick it up and start carrying it around with me. Hey, Alan, do you want to go climbing? Sure, why not? Hey, Alan, do you want to learn how to dance? Okay, I'd like to dance. Hey, Alan, do you want to learn how to cook? Okay, hold on. I guess that works. Hey, Alan, you want to learn Spanish? I'd love to learn Spanish. Okay, that can kind of balance over here. And pretty soon I'm carrying this enormous load, and it seems like it'd be a huge burden, but, like, I like carrying it around and I like all the things. And I think it's worth it. It means that I have a whole bunch of different skills. I like being able to climb up things and get into new places. I like the fact that I can communicate in 3 languages, including English, and make a fool of myself in a 4th. So I can make a fool of myself pretty well in the others anyway. But I like all these things, and I think that's one of the main reasons that I decided to go to the college that I went to. It's called Harvey Mudd. See, in the first few seconds of conversation in an academic setting with people that I haven't met before, the conversation usually goes something like this. Hey, Alan, what's your major? Engineering. What kind of engineering? Engineering. And then they get really confused, because almost nobody offers a general engineering degree, but Mudd is the reverse. They only offer a general engineering degree, because they seem to think that engineers should be able to communicate with engineers in all sorts of different fields. And I think this makes a lot of sense. And that not wanting to get rid of hobbies and not wanting to get rid of subjects, that feeling in me is a lot of what made me like this. Of course, it's not the only reason that I'm glad that I went to Harvey Mudd. One of the main things that I really like about it is that the culture is very eccentric and very wacky. It's not something you find in a whole lot of places, although there are a few other colleges. For example, the prank culture springs to mind. Most people think of pranks as these things that crazy people do and then you read about and you laugh about. But at Mudd, if you want to do pranks and you can't, then you're just not looking hard enough. There's opportunities to prank people all over the place. One example springs to mind. My freshman year, the freshmen got pranked en masse, so we were looking to get back at some people and prank them back. And the rooms are laid out in sort of a mirrored thing. They have 2 rooms that are mirror images of each other across a bathroom. And so we found 4 people who were living in 2 of these rooms that were right next to each other, that none of the 4 would mind being pranked. And over the course of a few hours, we took all of their stuff and moved it to the other room. And we set their rooms up exactly the way it was before, but because the rooms were the mirror images of each other, the setups were also the mirror images of each other. So if someone had their bed on the right side of the room at the back, they would now have their bed on the left side of the room at the back. If someone had their desk, their computer on the left side of their desk, they would now have the computer on the right side of their desk, etc. We went down to a bunch of different details. We reversed the order of books on the bookshelf. We reversed the order of coats in the closet. We even went down to putting the keyboard on the other side of the mouse for people who had separate keyboard and mouse. And we switched the settings so that it would be a left-handed mouse. My only regret is that we couldn't do really outrageous things like reprinting all of the books and having all the books be mirror image of what they were before. But that sort of thing is one of the reasons that I really, really enjoyed going to MUD. Speaking of non sequiturs, for a while I was considering working with brain-machine interfaces, BMIs, and these are things that I'm really excited to see come into existence, or become more popular anyway. They're actually already in existence, and they're really kind of creepy sometimes. I heard about an experiment that happened a while ago, actually, with someone put some neural sensors on a monkey, and they handed the monkey a joystick, and the joystick could control it could get food pellets from a cage and bring them to the monkey's cage. And so the monkey would sit there with the joystick and figure out how to do it, and would get food for itself. And while it was doing this, they would take readings of the monkey's brain and look for patterns. When the monkey is making the joystick go left, what do the brain readings look like? When the monkey is making the joystick go right, what do the brain readings look like? And eventually they got all these patterns, and they started classifying things. Do the brain readings, what do the brain readings say about what the monkey is doing with the joystick? And eventually they switched control over to the brain readings from the joystick. And they completely unplugged the joystick, and the monkey was happily sitting there with the joystick as normal, and the arm was doing exactly the same thing as it was before. And then they just took away the joystick. And the monkey was sitting there making this arm go back and forth between the cage and the other cage and his cage, and bring monkey pellets just sitting there looking at it. And this sort of thing sounds really creepy, but when you think about it, it's an amazing way to interface with things. You could just look at your computer and have it open up the applications that you want to, or that sort of thing. Now, right now, the data rate on these things is pretty slow, and also the interface is either invasive or not very good. With invasive things, they can get much better data rates, they can get much clearer data, but you need chip in your brain. Whereas with the non-invasive things like a skull cap, it's an even worse interface. But I'm really looking forward to these things coming into prominence and people becoming accepting of them. A lot of times people are very wary of these things. Well, I don't want people hacking into my brain, but I really think it's just from a misunderstanding about how they work in the first place. Anyway,